Contact Family is a UK charity providing information and support to families with disabled children, whatever their disability. This podcast is an adult's account of living with a disability.
My name is Sophie and I'm 48 years of age. I'm married, have no children. I have McCune-Albright's disease, polycytic fibrous dysplasia. It affects the bones, the skin, the hormones and the kidneys, and basically the bone is replaced by fibrous tissue, making them quite porous. It does affect the bones and also the skin. With the skin, I have birthmark on one side of my body, mostly where it's diseased. That's where the birthmark is. Affects the hormones because I started puberty at 3 years of age. But I had hormone injections until I was 11. And then the bone is replaced by fibrous tissue, which does make it very weak and very prone to fractures. And also affects the kidneys, where I don't absorb the calcium and such. It goes through me. Calcium actually goes through the kidneys. It doesn't sort of stay in the bones themselves.
So how did it feel when you were diagnosed?
Well, I was only 3 years old when I was diagnosed, but as I got older, I realised the complexity of the condition and what it entailed.
And what's been the most difficult time for you since you were diagnosed?
Having the many operations to straighten the legs with pins and plates, and basically the length of time it took to get back on my feet, because from start to finish, you're talking near 4 months to actually get back on my feet. But that was the downside, is the many operations that you have to go through in order to have the legs straightened out and pin and plated.
And what did the doctors tell you and your family about your condition?
Well, to be honest with you, when I was diagnosed back in 1961, there wasn't an awful lot of information about it then. They didn't really know themselves what it entailed. They basically just said to me when I was about 8 that it meant there was obviously many operations to come because there's no treatment for the condition whatsoever. All they could do at that time was just operate. Every time the legs deformed, they just operated each time. They just dealt with it as it came along, basically.
And what are the things that have changed most as a result of your condition?
It's my height loss. I've lost an awful lot of height. I used to be nearly 5 foot and I'm now down to 4'2". My spine decalcified in my 20s. That was due to being in and out of hospital and, in bed basically for too long. And then my spine, it just collapsed. It didn't collapse all in one go. It's gradual, but the end result is my height loss. And that I do find quite difficult to manage, really. It affects my spine, my hips, my ribs, my pelvis and my femurs. I get an awful lot of pathological fractures, which is hairline fractures. I do get a lot of pain with the condition, but you just learn to accept it and basically get on with life.
And how has your condition affected your family?
There's a lot of restrictions really with the family. We don't go on holidays and things like that. I can't travel long distances because I do get discomfort in the car. And you've got to plan things as well. You can't just sort of get up and go. Everywhere I go, I have to take the wheelchair with me. And, there's places you want to go, there's steps and things. You've always got to plan ahead.
Could you describe a typical day for me?
Well, it's just a normal day-to-day living, really. If I need any help in the house, my husband's here to do, as much as he can. I've had the house adapted to accommodate my wheelchair. I've had a wet room installed so that I don't have to use the bath. So that's a good help. My husband does the shopping, takes me shopping. I go out quite a bit in my electric wheelchair. That takes me to town, so I'm quite independent. And if we go out in the car, then we just use the manual wheelchair, which my husband pushes me around with that. So, we do try and get out as much as we can. And if I'm obviously in a lot of pain or I have any stress fractures, then obviously I just curb things a little bit.
So what tends to be the most challenging day-to-day task for you?
Just getting through the day, really, as best as I can. When I am in pain, I just rest, but I'm not immobile. I do keep myself mobile as best as I can because I think if I'm not, it weakens the bones even more, so you've got to try and keep mobile.
And what type of support have you needed over the years?
Basically, I do go to the Royal. I go and see my consultant. I go on a regular basis. He checks things and I have x-rays and such like. But as for support with the condition, I manage it myself. I don't go to a GP or anything. If I'm in any pain or I have any stress fractures, I don't go running to the GP. I manage it all myself, basically, because I've lived with it for so long. I know the do's and don'ts of it. But as I said, I do get support and treatment with my consultant, who's really, really good.
And what type of information have you found is available about your condition?
Well, since I got my little laptop, I went onto the web and the first thing I put into it was McCune-Albright's disease. And I was really surprised as to how much information there was about the condition. Although I knew a lot of it myself, there were one or two bits that I didn't realise about it. But that's the only place that I found information was actually on the website.
And how did you find out about Contact a Family?
That was actually on the website.
What advice would you give to others?
Find out as much information as you can. I mean, a lot of information is available on the website. Look up McCune's and just find out as much as you can about it. And all the treatments, that there are treatments available. Some GPs don't realise there are treatments available. But if you look on the website, you'll find that there is help out there. And go to your GP and just let him know what you've found out yourself and get referred. Otherwise, you're not going to get the help you need.
The Contact a Family helpline can provide information and support on many of the points raised in this podcast. The advisors on our free phone helpline can assist with issues around benefit entitlement, navigating the NHS, and issues around education. We can also locate local and national support groups, provide medical information, and link parents whose children have rare disorders. In addition, we produce a wide range of publications. For further information, visit our website at www.cafamily.org.uk or call our free phone helpline on 0808 808 3555. For video interviews with parents, visit our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/CA Family. This recording was made in January 2010. The views expressed in this podcast are for information purposes only. The material is in no way intended to replace professional medical care or attention by a qualified practitioner. Condition symptoms may vary in type or severity amongst individuals. This podcast is to demonstrate the personal views and experience of this family only. For approved medical information about this condition, see the Contact a Family website at www.cafamily.org.uk or contact your doctor.